Picture the universe from outside. Just take the perspective and look at the universe from an imaginary perspective. And imagine that it looks like a perfect sphere of bright white light. Science shows you evidence that the universe is expanding and accelerating, but gives it a baggy shape. I just want you to take an assumption to restore it to a perfect sphere of bright white light, and you're looking at it. Now, it exists. The universe definitely exists. Go and look at evidence, satisfy yourself that you exist in a universe, and say, how does that universe sustain itself? In essence, all the universe is a perfect sphere of glowing bright white light that sustains itself. And it does so through surface tension. The force that holds that universe together is expansion. From the center, take a center dot point of radius equals 0. It's a dimension so small you can't measure it, but it has a surface area. Because we're going to measure the expansion of surface area, I must have a starting point. So that's radius equals 0 squared. From that moment, the light is expanding. It is accelerating. Seconds squared. Provided that acceleration continues, the light will remain in one piece. So starting from a center dot point, imagine the light expanding and it's accelerating all the time. If you were stood on the face of that light and moving with it, you would stand on that surface as it's accelerating. The moment that it stopped accelerating, you'd fall off. The very moment, it's just in a straight line, it's speeding up, you're standing on it, the moment it slows down, you'll fall off. So that's second squared, acceleration. It gets to a size where it fractures. And that is the moment when it slows down. So the effect on the light itself of slowing down is it fractures. It's then a network of positive and negative spaces. The fracture occurs like this. The first fracture occurs on the surface, in the surface tension. It's a one-sided fracture that occurs on the surface of the light. And that one-sided fracture echoes right through the sphere of light. In an instant, it shatters. The instant of shattering is so powerful that energy is added to the system that sustains it. Take the force of expansion that's created this sphere of a size that's now shattered, but at the moment of shattering, it sustains itself. The force of acceleration at the center, the force of expansion, is now replicated in every single fragment of light that is created through the shattering effect. Each of those fragments of light will now try to expand into the negative spaces, into the fractures. There is voids in between the light for this moment. Those voids are the negative spaces. Now, the light is electric. It's electricity. It's a spark of electricity, light. So when the fracture occurs in the void, there's a magnetic field. Motion in an electric field creates a magnetic effect. And so the sides of the void are attracted to each other. They're north and south. Because they're attracted to each other, that creates an attractive response, an elastic response to the expansion. And that prevents the expansion from happening. So that's at the particle scale. In the voids, you see universe expands, stops accelerating, shatters. Each particle of shattered light tries to expand into the negative space that's created by the fracture. The fracture is magnetized and it has an elastic response. And therefore the light can't expand, it transforms into the negative space through a series of force fields. So in those negative spaces, it's called force flow. It's a force flow analysis. You just take it to nth degree. Use Leve 6, split it into 6, analyze the action. And you can keep going. In that tiniest of dimension, the surface of the observations of quantum is an infinite transform of forces. Now, there's the universe existing. There's a system inside it. I just explained to you. Go back now to the surface. Look at the universe. The effect of this shattering and the force field that is created within the negative spaces is that a pattern is formed, and that the universe consists of infinite contracting spheres, one inside another, like a gobstopper going right to the center. Infinitely thin, and they're gradients of time. It's how long has the light existed for. In acceleration of second squared, there was a duration created. So when the light was complete, it created a duration. The shattering realized the energy of that duration. And that creates twist. So when you look at the universe, and you look inside it, these spheres are all rotating on 3 axes. They're just 3 axes, but that they are inside a magnetic field. So they've aligned north and south. So you've got infinite spheres, all free floating in a magnetic field. And the system running sweetly is that they all line up. Momentum is perfect in every sphere, and they all spin on the same north-south axis. If momentum is poor, then the axes all go off, and everything wobbles, and the planet slows down, and gravity increases. So what does the surface look like of the universe when you're observing it like that? That model. Expansion and contraction force at the surface. Gravity. The contractive force, that tiny grip of the magnetism, is sufficient because the power of the expansion is so great. The elastic response must be equal and opposite, plus a tiny bit. That's what it needs. So the surface is a series of hexagons of surface tension, 2-dimensional. And that there are 2 ways of looking at that surface. Picture the surface of hexagons, perfect hexagons everywhere, except there must be a pentagon. There must be at least one pentagon in a surface of a Goldberg shape, polygon, forgot the name. Must be one pentagon. Imagine the sphere is of infinite size. The whole surface is made from hexagons of surface tension. There must be one pentagon. And that's the geometry. So when you now look at the surface of the universe, you'll see, just look at one window, and you'll see hexagons. A hexagon surrounded by other hexagons. The surface tension is circular, and you can draw the flower of life there, can't you? It's 2-dimensional surface tension. Look at it from the side, and you'll see that there's 2 ways of looking at it. Flower of life. You can look at it as a sphere, with a hexagon inside it, or you can look at it as a hexagon with the windows turned inwards. Sphere, perfect surface, or sphere with flat surfaces. A lens, lensing effect of gravity created by the nuclear force through the shattering of light and the creation of a moment in each moment, from moment to moment. And there's a geometry to go with it. Cayley's cone. Do Cayley's cone exercise, add seconds squared, and you'll find an overlap in the circle dot pattern has an overlap. That overlap is 137 arc seconds. Okay. What's a man got to do to get this planet to change its mind? To wake up. You're back in the room. You are the center of the universe. You are love. Because you are loved. Follow the Rebel King.